I am heartbroken to give you guys this review. Heartbroken. Let's start with the good. The first 20 to 25 minutes of this movie were awesome. They were exactly what you expect out of Christopher Nolan. It was super exciting. The story was well written. Killian, is that how you say it? Killian or Cillian? I think it's Killian. Killian Murphy, the incredible Irish actor, finally gets the lead role he so well deserves. I know that he already has sort of had his leading man satisfied with Peaky Blinders, but in the lead role in a Christopher Nolan movie in a giant blockbuster, he finally gets the role that he so well deserves. So good on him. I loved the beginning of the movie, how he's like an up and coming physicist and he gets hired at a college and he's inventing and discovering all kinds of new physics and new perspectives, and students are flooding to his class and he's explaining all these things and they're asking him questions and he's understanding the ramifications of it, and it's all so great. I love that kind of thing about movies. Like the beginning, like the getting ready part, that's why, like, in the Harry Potter movies, like when the kids like are, picking out their wands and they like approach Hogwarts and there it is, and they're meeting their teachers and they're getting sorted by the hat. Like that kind of thing is so exciting. Like I love the beginning of a story, the beginning of an adventure. So that part was really cool. Also, the scene where the atomic bomb actually goes off, and this isn't a spoiler alert because we all knew that it was going to go off. That alone is worth the price of admission. Seeing it in IMAX, seeing that atomic bomb go off, that is one of my cinematic experiences that I will always remember. The cinematography, the music, the acting, it all came together. Everything that Christopher Nolan has ever contributed to cinema, to film, comes together in that scene. Even Josh Peck did a really good job. And like you're sitting there and like the tension is just palpable. You could cut it with a knife and you're like kind of plugging your ears, or at least I am because I'm a bit of a wimp. And like it's just fantastic. I can't wait to see that scene again. But other than that, this is one of, I don't want to use the word worst because that makes it seem so bad, but this is a bad Christopher Nolan movie perfectly wrapped up in the appearance of being good. First of all, the music. The music, Christopher Nolan must have some kind of vendetta against our eardrums. Like I saw Interstellar in a normal theater, and then I saw it in IMAX. Watching it in IMAX, like with Hans Zimmer falling asleep on his organ, and just like, okay, like please, like the characters are already experiencing like a tidal wave of water. We as an audience don't need to experience a tidal wave of sound. Like, it's cool, I guess, but like, can it move around? Can it feel like music instead of just some like Spartan assault on your eardrums? And though there was that in this movie, it was beyond that. It was just the fact that the music was so insistent. It was so insistent. It was like demanding that you be invested. The music was demanding that you feel this way. It was demanding that you feel that way. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, yeah, but I don't feel this way. So can you turn it down a little bit? Like, if music is just there and it's trying to evoke a certain emotion, that's fine. That's one thing. But if it is just grabbing you by the lapels of your button down and shaking you back and forth and headbutting you and saying, "You will feel this way," it creates the opposite effect. This, and this is the heartbreaking part, this is the most bored I have ever been watching a Christopher Nolan movie. And it's not because it's a historical drama. I got no problem with historical dramas. It's just that it was the repetition of scenes, it was the repetition of content, it was the repetition of stakes. It seemed like 90% of this movie was just whether or not he was a Nazi or not. And I knew the end. I didn't know anything about Oppenheimer besides the fact that he and Einstein greatly contributed to the creation of the atomic bomb. I didn't know a single thing about him going in besides that. And I knew that he wasn't a communist sympathizer. But that was like the bulk of the movie. That was the driving force behind the movie. And just knowing that he wasn't, and seeing someone come in and defend him, seeing someone come in and accuse him, seeing someone come in and defend him. It was like this cyclical hamster wheel of courthouse scenes, or even like just tiny little room scenes. And after like the second one, I just didn't care. I don't know how else to say it. I just didn't care. What's even more heartbreaking is that As the movie got towards the end, I literally took my phone out and checked the time. I checked to see how much time was left before the movie was over because I was that bored. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. I know I've probably already pissed off a lot of you guys, so let me say something more positive about the movie. Let me say another good thing about the movie. Robert Downey Jr. I know that sometimes it's hard to get away from your iconic role. Jim Carrey kind of lucked out because he's already a comedian. His iconic role is Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, and there's no debating that. So he kind of lucked out in the sense that that's kind of who he is anyway. So the fact that we associate that role with him works out. The fact that we associate Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr. is a little less fortunate because I think his range is way greater than just some kind of like narcissistic playboy. But anyway, he is amazing. He's a great actor. I feel like he probably would do really well in theater if he hasn't already. He would do really well on the stage. He has that kind of presence to him. So him being kind of like Oppenheimer's underling, if that's the right word. I've seen a lot of comparisons to Mozart and Salieri. The fact that Downey Jr.'s character was kind of the Salieri to Oppenheimer's Mozart. So that element of it was kind of interesting. And there was a little bit of a plot twist towards the end that was also interesting. But anyway, back to the bad. There was a love triangle that was just like kind of weird. And not weird in the sense that it's a love triangle, because like love triangles aren't weird. And I know that like historically, this love triangle actually did happen. But it had this surrealist quality to it. And I know like the entire movie was of it. It had like more surrealist scenes than I was expecting. But there was like this one scene that like was supposed to be super dramatic, but it involves like nudity and there's like the characters having a vision, and I was just kind of like, am I supposed to laugh? Am I supposed to like be kind of am I supposed to be intrigued by this? Just very, very odd choices. And the fact that there was like nudity at all is like not at all what Christopher Nolan does. It's not what he goes for. I wonder even if there was some studio interference in that. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm heartbroken to give you guys this review, and I've only seen it once. I can't imagine me only seeing it once. I probably will inevitably see it again, and I want to see it again. I really do, because it's Christopher Nolan, it's Cillian Murphy, it's Emily Blunt, it's Robert Downey Jr., it's et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, I love all those actors, and I love anything that Christopher Nolan puts out, and I kind of want to convince myself that it's better. Of course, now I feel like I'm going down the same path that people did when Phantom Menace came out, where it's like, well, it couldn't have been bad. I mean, we've waited over 20 years for this movie. Surely it's not bad. Let's go see it again. So maybe I'm going down that path. But in any case, I'm going to give it a second chance. I feel like I actually had a similar experience with The Dark Knight Rises. That movie was hyped up beyond comparison, and it's actually kind of ironic that I'm using another Christopher Nolan example. But when I went to see it at the midnight premiere, of course, I was really excited and I really enjoyed it. But coming out of the theater, I was kind of denying my own feelings that it was a bit of a letdown. Then a few weeks later, I saw it again, and I was like, okay, this is much better than I remember. It's sometimes when you take your expectations and they can dissipate, you're able to more easily process the film, and you're able to give it a better review, or you're better able to have a better experience with it. I had the same experience with Endgame, so maybe I'll have this experience with Oppenheimer. I can only hope. So, have you guys seen Oppenheimer? What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know down in the comments below. And I'm giving this one a 7.5 out of 10, just for the first 20 minutes and the bomb scene. So, have you guys seen Oppenheimer? If you have, what did you think about it? Whatever your comments are, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next cinematic adventure.